my own journey for self-improvement, I managed to meet a lot of kind, awesome, and extraordinary people, and everyone had something to tell. What I wanted to do was share the stories and experiences of these people so that everyone could benefit from them. But I was afraid. What if I was not able to get the message through? What if my skills were not enough? What if I failed? That's when I had an idea. There were some people that already made it, some people that were successful enough to make their dreams come true. I decided to ask them for advice, and this is what they said.
What's going on, brother? This is your man Ryan Hollins, 10-year NBA veteran, ESPN analyst, and dang, I was prepped what you done, brother. I found myself in a similar situation, if it makes sense. So, when I stopped playing basketball, I don't want to say stop, didn't go back to the NBA. I didn't want to do G League. I got a job overseas, went to my uncle's funeral. They fired me from the funeral, took less money, went to another job that lasted about a month or so. And I'm sitting around in the middle of remodeling a house with no money, and I'm watching my money dwindle. And before I, finished playing basketball, I knew I wanted to do broadcasting. And I would do radio. I tried to do as much TV as I could. Any opportunities I could get to get on TV or work, I would do them. So I figured that once I stopped playing basketball and made that choice, once the ball stopped bouncing, I could go into television, and that would work out. Well, once I finished, nobody was calling my phones. I had my agents telling me nobody wanted to work with me, no one wanted to hear from me. And I just figured, man, I'm gonna go and put 110% in everything I do, and I'm gonna work at my craft. And the phones weren't ringing, and I got one call to go out to ESPN. It was like a tryout to do SportsCenter, and when I went out there, I just unleashed, and it was like, man, I want an opportunity to do SportsCenter, and then can I come on your radio show? Can I come on your TV show? So I just started trying to do everything I could do, and literally I didn't know my next time being booked or my next opportunity. So every time I would go on, it would be my last. I remember First Take was being aired. I would just go sit in the studio and watch First Take. Like I would go days in a row and go sit and watch First Take. So people don't know that. So for me, man, it's always been an underdog story and grasping on every single opportunity, man. So, man, when I hear you, going out on a limb, man, I believe in it. But make sure, you got to go with 100% when you do this. You got to go 110%. You got to be watching other people that are great and see what they do. How do they get their views, their likes? How are they interesting? How do they move conversations? All those things, man. So, Wes, I appreciate you, brother. Keep working, man. And that's just a little bit of my story and my grind. Appreciate it.
Spoot, one of my dearest friends and a fellow gamer. I met Spoot like some years ago through gaming, and since then he went through his passion and became a content creator and a TV host, not a TV but a radio host show presenter, and now he ventured himself into game development, and I saw that he organized some hackathon or gameathon that got some good results, and he's developing the scene. So I would like to know also what he's doing over there, what are his goals, and what problems he may be now finding within that culture or that society. So word to you. First of all, good appetit.
Thanks. Yeah, I haven't eaten that much, but still enough to talk.
So what can you tell us? What did you achieve recently? Or what did you do?
Due to the lockdown, production is less, whether you like it or not. So you have to face the facts. So basically what I do for a living, let's say it's three main axes: the events with Retro Gaming Tunisia, or Retro Gaming Tunisia if you rather have it in English. So it's a group of me and my friends that are retro gaming passionate. You see, like I have the arcades at home. I do like gaming ever since I was born. I was raised with the Super Nintendo controller in my hands. And with the Famicom, what is a Famicom? It's basically these Chinese knockoffs of Famicoms of the Nintendo Entertainment System with built-in games. We had a lot of those in North Africa around here, in Tunisia,
Yeah,
Algeria.
I mastered Captain Tsubasa and a couple of other games over there. Yeah,
Yeah, Captain Tsubasa in Arabic. Somebody RAM hacked it back in the 80s. That was such an achievement.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
insane. That was insane. The
And
dude RAM hacked a
and you had
Famicom game.
and you had the possibility of choices, which was very innovator at that point, to have really different choices. Like you take one action, there is one result, and especially for a sport kind of game.
You talk about Tsubasa specifically. It was an RPG game. It was not a football game by any
Exactly.
means. It was an RPG game. It was a strategy game. It was nothing but a football game.
That's
Yeah,
what I
it
liked
was
about
fun.
it. Like mixing both culture was for me really interesting at that point.
That's Japanese people for you. They do stuff that you wouldn't come up with even if you were locked down in a room for an eternity thinking. So yeah, I grew up with these Chinese consoles. I played a lot of Tsubasa, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Manhattan Project, in the Super Nintendo. Then obviously the 64, the PlayStation, like the Genesis. I played a lot of Sega Mega Drive, depending on where you are. So I grew up with this passion of gaming, especially on consoles. I have nothing against PCs. I did play a lot of Counter-Strike 1.6. Back then we didn't have a team. We were good. We were the best result we had. I think we were placed third. We lost at the semifinals because of one friend. He will know. He will recognize himself. No, but it's just to laugh.
Yeah, you need to throw him under the bus.
Anyway, so yeah, I do play some games on PC, but mainly on consoles. So I kept my collection growing up. I kept the older consoles, and I always update my collection. And what I did back then, I'm not gonna say it's smart because I did it, so it will sound weird. But the good move I did, it was that every time that a new generation of consoles is coming out, like let's say the PlayStation 2 is coming out, I know everybody in the neighborhood are going to sell their Nintendo 64s and maybe their PlayStation original games, but there were too few of them because we had a lot of burned discs here, and that's what made actually the PlayStation successful here, because it was easily hackable. So it was everybody modded their PlayStation, so we mainly had burned CDs. Anyway, so every time there's a new generation of consoles coming out, I know everybody in the neighborhood are going to sell their older consoles at a very low price. So I did every time go to look for people selling their Nintendo 64.
And you talk about an entrepreneurial move. You were a genius when you were young. I think
yeah, that's what built my collection, actually. I don't know if I could take my laptop upstairs to show you the collection maybe later, but that's what built the collection. It was an overtime thing, because I'm not particularly rich. I'm not saying I'm like really poor or anything, but I'm not rich enough, especially to make a video game collection. If you look at the prices of some retro games today, it's insane to get only one game. So to have this many games with a very reasonable price, it had to have this kind of this kind of move to actually achieve that. As a matter of fact, look what I'm using to hold the camera up. Some games. So to have this many games, you really had to resort to some kind of a trick.
Actually, growing up, I had my best friend, which had also like the same passion as you, but he was richer. So he got every game and every console that was going out there. And he was also passionate about gaming. So watching people play on different consoles and getting to know like every console out there was also one passion of mine because of this friend. And I didn't, like you, get a collection of it, but at least I get to play or to enjoy it through my friend because we grew up together.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same thing, whether you owned it or a friend owned it and you could experience it. That's the same thing. The most important thing is that you did experience the games, because there are today some people that do collect the games and buy them, but they do not play. They did not play it before. They're just doing it in the sake of, oh, it's rare, it's scarce, some people want, so I want it too. These people are the worst. They are of the earth. Mm-hmm.
But it's a stimulus check, buying things that we don't want. It can be a pair of shoes, a t-shirt, or a game. It's just a stimulus check. So what matters more nowadays is I know it's like you said, like we learned gaming through, like it was hard to get games, and in general either we got together to play or you play with your family, and we bonded a lot. Now you see a lot of games like this kind of games, people getting haters and just like jumping on game because there is a lot of choice, there is a lot of hype, a lot of trends. So people lost the core value of what could gaming be, or like the experience that we got with Zelda when it came on 64. Everybody got the best months of their life, I think.
Yeah, now you're comparing actually current gen gaming with retro gaming, not actually retro game collectors that do play games and the collectors that actually do that just for, I don't know, for their own reasons.
No, I was telling just the point that is a stimulus check. People who do it without a passion do it for other reason. It's to cover insecurities in general. That's why I gave that example.
Sure. Now I get your point. Yeah, now I get your point. Sure. Yeah, so to get back to the point, yeah, so throughout time, collecting games, basically someday I did encounter people on a Facebook group made by a friend who's member, co-founder of Retro Gaming Tunisia. He made a Facebook group called Retro Gaming Tunisia, and there we gathered like the core of the people who are passionate about collecting games, little by little, step by step. So that's years ago. So basically, obviously, throughout time, we did develop a core. We made an event organism, and so that's part of my job at Retro Gaming Tunisia, to be the event manager. This is something that I make a living of, and since the lockdown now, been active for, I don't know, like two months, I think. So that's some money I'm not getting. So that's some productivity that is gone. So yeah, that's the part of Retro Gaming Tunisia. Now let's talk about the game development. I did work 3 years in companies, in 2 different companies, a year and a half in first one in Sidi Bou Said, and a year and a half, the second one in Marsa. That's phone call. Sorry.
No worries.
Sorry. What I was saying, I did work as a game developer, Unity C#, to be more precise. The thing is, so after 3 years, I figured that was some kind of a loop. I was stuck in a loop where I will be just a salary man. Even though I loved what I did, I love the people surrounding me, because the colleagues are also people that are passionate about gaming. They are listening to gaming soundtracks all the day. They do the stuff like you would do. Even if you forget your headset at home, it's not a big deal, because they were listening to the same music that you would be listening to on a loudspeaker. So it's amazing. You bond a lot with the colleagues. But to be honest, the salaryman rhythm, or let's say daily life, I don't know. I didn't catch with it. I lived 3 years with it, and
what like
waking up every day.
Exactly. What was the hardest part of it? What the hardest points that you felt you couldn't deal with?
Bosses, really. Oh my God, bosses were horrible. They were either not gamers at all and not game developers, or pseudo gamers but not game developers. So they never knew actually anything technical, which made it hell to deal with, because they were asking for non-reasonable stuff. Like maybe they were asking for some small features, but since they don't know technically how it works, maybe that small feature will eat so much resources that will crash the game or lower the FPS so much. You'll be telling him this is so costly for the CPU or GPU or whatever. They don't understand. You have to make the work just to make them shut up, and then you just discard all that work because it did actually not work. So there is a lot of backstage issues, but it was especially the problem with even if the bosses were great, I don't like to having to wake up every day and go to the same place it just didn't work for me as much. So I thought maybe I should I don't know, step aside and do something by my own. I started teaching game development. That I loved. I loved that. Teaching was amazing, because there's a big difference between when you are a salaryman and a teacher. when you're a teacher, you see the recognition in the eyes of your students. Like they're very happy. Thank you. Yeah, I learned something. Thank you. That was amazing. You see the recognition. You never see recognition from your boss. Never. He never. He will never tell you something good because
No,
he
that's
doesn't want you.
one. That's a bad boss, but two is like you're totally right. You get the total experience because you're providing value, and people are loving you for that. So you can like giving back is a great feeling, and teaching also I love it because it involves like giving back, which is like something really emotional.
Sure. Yeah, it's good to share your what you're passionate about, what you learned throughout years to the new generation. That was amazing. That's I think that's it. What I do today as a game developer is basically teaching, organizing hackathons, like I just mentioned at the beginning. We did a hackathon, an online one, recently, like 2-3 weeks ago. It was good with the Creative Digital Lab in Tunisia and the City of Culture. It was awesome. Yeah, we loved it. There were a lot of the contenders that were students that I taught. That was amazing. I love to see the projects that were given from students that I taught, that I made some courses for. So really, there is a part of gratitude in teaching that you don't find actually when you're a salaryman. I don't know, maybe I was unlucky. Maybe there are some bosses that do tell their employees, you're doing good, there's no problem. Okay, today you're tired, tomorrow. No, I was not confronted to that at all. I was always confronted to bosses that were like, I don't know, I was literally once in the middle of the road. My car, I don't know what happened. It totally stopped. I think it was a battery issue. I don't know. I was really stuck in the middle of the rain. I called my boss to tell him I'm stuck and I can't do anything. So probably, to be honest, I shouldn't even have called him. I was in distress. I couldn't know what to do, figure what to do. So I did call him and told him I have no clue what I'm going to do now. So I don't think I'm gonna make it today. His answer was, okay, do the necessary. Please don't be late. Oh my God. Oh my God. That was insane. That was insane. They are so insensitive. They do not care. I told them afterwards, dude, I told them if I work 10 years here, I wouldn't get enough money to buy the same car that was like in a trouble at that moment. No, go to hell. No, I have to save my car first, then myself, and then I'll show up to work. You're not paying me like $1 billion. So you get the point. I hate that.
So also I got in Tunisia, I got like out to work, and one day I went and I had to do the whole accountability of like 3,000, I would say, like workers, and they were into textile. After I did the accountability, I had to work with one guy. It was Ramadan as well, and he didn't shower or change nothing for 13 days. And I had to share a desk with him, which at some point was quite some harsh. When then I finished, they didn't pay me.
I did not expect that.
So they didn't pay me after that. Difference. Now I worked with like this marketing and gaming company here. It's like I worked within marketing. It's a blockchain gaming company. And I call in the morning, like, I don't feel good. I'll work everything, but I'm home. I'll work on Sunday. I'll take care of everything. Everybody is WhatsApping each other. My kid is sick, or like I had a hangover, I'll be late, or the car broke down, I'll be at 11. Nobody like, actually, you're there for each other and you're there to cover for each other. So if like something I don't like is the boss or the one above, is like, that's how also like I got to manage the team. But that's how I deal with things. Like if you can't, or with at least delay, how can I help? How could we, even if you can't do it, how could we outsource it in that time to a freelancer or something to help us? But don't like cut the connection or be stuck, because I did that and I realized being sometimes under pressure, and when there is big money involved, you'll start to tunnel vision. You'll start to close on yourself, and that's what you don't need to do as a manager. That's when, you know, like you're retro gaming, I think you know that, but divide everything into a team and everything will be fine. It needs to be a total wheel that works out, but people fail to create that culture. And now this new school of management didn't catch up yet into small entity startups in Tunisia, but it will come. There is like good people working on. I'm seeing behind the scenes, and I'm really happy.
Great. No, I wish. I'm pretty sure, not wish. I'm sure that's true. I just didn't. Just was not lucky or lucky, depends on how you look at it, because it
This
led me
life.
to what I'm doing now, which is much better for me. So yeah, as you said, what goes around comes around. That's it. It has to be a cycle. It has to be a wheel, and it has to be spinning perfectly. Blah, blah, blah. So that's it as a game developer. So I'm pretty much inactive compared to normal days. So rarely there is a hackathon here and there, an event where I have to be a jury or something. That's it. As for the host, for the radio show host, that's what I'm doing. So the sponsor gave the okay to record the interviews and the whole show at home with my own. I think I have a Zoom. Basically, I use my own stuff too. I should have used it for this interview too.
Yeah.
Why didn't I? So I hope at least it's clear. It's. I hope even without the Zoom, it's pretty audible. I ran out of USBs when I think of it. Anyway, so I did. I spent like now it's Ramadan, so it's a break. We don't produce the gaming story. The show is called Gaming Story. It's on Jawhara FM. Last episode aired on Wednesday, last Wednesday, just before Ramadan began. So that kept being active. At least I had something to make a bit of money out of. So the show is about mostly business and gaming, then gaming in general. It's not only like all we have here. This is not critic. I'm just analyzing the thing. It's not like to nitpicking the others or something. All they do is talking. They all do the same thing. They only talk esport. They only talk rarely some PlayStation news here and there, what they found on the net. But nobody is talking actually about game development, about startups and gaming, about business and gaming. This is what I focus on. And thank God, I think I'm the best suited to do it because I am myself a game developer. So when I talk to game developers, to, I don't know, entrepreneurs and stuff like that, I do know what they're talking about. I did work in startups. I knew how the whole process works, so I can manage the interviews with these people. So, and this is what my show is about: to talk business and gaming, how to make your life from your passion. Whether you can be it could talk about esports because we do get some professional gamers. We had the African champions of Dota 2, and I still like look forward to get other champions from other games. You know, we have a lot of talented people here in Tunisia. You probably know. So yeah, that's it. Now it's Ramadan. The show is paused. And no, there's almost nothing to do except for playing games all the day. That's it. I do play a lot of games.
Yeah, we understood, man. I've also played a lot of games. We're into confinement gaming mode. You go back into your roots.
Sure.
What I wanted to ask you, what I'd be interested in knowing, when you started YouTube, how was it? How did you start YouTube, and what was the hardest part in hearing like the critics? Because I know also that gaming in general, people like to pick net on gamers and to go hate on them. So I don't imagine your debut was that easy, or you received critiques also from your entourage, I imagine.
Oh, especially from my entourage, where you do expect the least. This is where you get the most of backstabbing. A lot of backstabbing, in fact. So before that, there is the production part, which is harder than the critics part, because there's a lot of work behind it. So much work. The first episode we
and how
made,
did you get into it? Can you get us like just before it started? Like did you get the idea of YouTube, and how did it start?
I'm a very close friend to my cousin, Slim. He's basically on every video on the YouTube channel, except the Let's Play ones where I'm playing alone. These are the gameplay videos. We do love a lot watching shows for laughing, like the sitcoms, Friends, Scrubs, whatever, How I Met Your Mother, all of them, the one with the geeks, Big Bang Theory. So we do love laughing. We watch a lot of humor stuff, American humor, even stupid humor. You know, Ash, it's French.
Yeah, man.
Some kind of plot. It's a very stupid show, but
I
we
know it
find
by
funny.
heart.
We find it funny. It's hilarious. They're so stupid, the guys. So we love laughing a lot. So one day we were sitting, and we started writing some stuff. We found it funny. We found it like really, really funny. I think the first time I started writing a script for the first episode, this is called the pilot on the YouTube channel. I was at my first job at Sidi Boussaid as a game developer. I think it was overtime, so I just stayed with the colleagues just to not let them alone, just to feel there's more people, so they don't feel they're doing the overtime thing. And I started writing stuff. It made me laugh myself. So I showed it to Slim, my cousin. He laughed. He told me, "Bro, that's so funny. Let's carry on. Let's write more and more." We wrote. We chose the topic. So the topic actually was these cartridges. I don't know if I have one just close to me here. These cartridges, you know, the yellow ones, the Chinese ones for
I remember.
like having 99999 in one something.
And
So
to be
this was
honest, I
something-
saw all the episodes, so I know them. Yeah.
Sure, that was the first episode. Thanks for watching them, by the way. So yes, we said that's something that everybody could relate on, and we did buy a lot of these cards when we were young. So let's make fun about these games. It's games. We love games. That's the thing we could master the most, at least myself. And we love humor. So let's make it. And we do love the Angry Video Games Nerd a lot, especially me. People here don't know much about him. They know more about Georges Grenier, which is his French counterpart. To be honest, Georges Grenier is much funnier. He uses humor. He's funny. Angry Video Games Nerd, I like him for his originality. He was the first, but he's more like harsh and gore. It's not real humor. He's being I don't know, silly. Anyway, so the point is, we did like both of these guys too. So we did take a lot of inspiration. Even in the beginning, the idea wasn't to make a Tunisian version of AVGN or Tunisian version of Georges Grenier. Not at all. Far from that. The idea at first was to make something with the humor, and since gaming is what we're best at, so okay, this is what we're going to do. It ended up looking very similar, pretty similar to them, but it's not the same thing. So easiest difference is that what actually AVGN or Georges Grenier does, they do play a retro game that is bad to yell at it. This is not at all what we do. We do play a retro game mainly, but not a bad one. And the point is not to yell at it. So the point is to talk about history. It's like a mishmash between gaming historian and AVGN, let's say, with more acting, with more actors, with more stuff, ridiculous stuff like that. So the point was to laugh. That's it. We wanted to laugh, want to make something funny, and then I can get to your point when you said it was maybe hard from people of your surrounding and stuff. I may found that it was funny and people that actually contributed to it, but that's the bad part. I don't want to talk much about it. So there was a lot of backstabbing from close people that said that it was a stupid idea. Why would you do that? It's not funny at all. At least keep it for you. I remember once I was sitting at home. Already I wasn't good back then. I remember I wasn't doing good. I just broke up with a girl. I wasn't fine. I wanted to be either alone or with good people. And I got a phone call from a friend. I was happy. He told me, come, we're at the cafe. We're going to have a talk and stuff. And one of them just came from abroad. So I haven't seen him in a while. It was fine. Oh yeah, this is gonna change my mind. I'm gonna feel good. And all the sitting for like 2 hours straight. All they were doing, believe me, they're only telling me how bad is what I'm doing. Why are you doing this? It's not funny. Why are you making a fool out of yourself? You're dancing and doing weird stuff in the videos. I was shocked. Why would you say it? Even if you think it, even if you do think it, I don't know. If one of my friends did something that I didn't find good, I would find good ways to tell him so. To I don't know. To
Ifil,
advise him.
I can tell as much as this. When it comes from a good heart, nobody would tell you. They can laugh at you if they're close friends. They tell you you suck at it, but they can tell you, for example, we didn't like the lighting, we didn't like the production. You could do that better if you are really. They ask you like, if are you really serious about it, or are you doing it for fun? So if
Constructive criticism. Yeah, that's
exactly,
the
so
word.
but
Constructive criticism. That
exactly,
wasn't
but
at all. That was constructive. That was just basically just attacking me.
I know, but coming from a weird place, and I know why I ask that, because most of the societies, like it's a really recurrent problem for content creators, and especially I can imagine in Tunisia where I also see it, like people gonna start, why are you doing that? Why are you sharing this kind of content? But when you build something that you love, like this, you also take out the unnecessary environment. So you have to be protective, even if it takes out some of your fans. You have to get it out of your heart, and that's why I wanted to share. It's not also like all flowers and and roses, this path, and that's what I want really to share with people. There is struggles, there is hustle, there is 9 to 5 jobs, there is times where you need to find new in the stream of incomes. And that's what's really interesting about people, like how you make it throughout the problems, because we all got them.
Yeah, I think you said the key word. It's love, something you love. It's all about love because it's something we love that we did. It wasn't something to actually make money out of it or to get a lot of views, because to get a lot of views in YouTube, make a lot of videos. They're short. They are destined or oriented to kids or teenagers. A lot of swear words, a lot of nudity, stupid stuff. So that's it. A lot of videos, short ones, like nobody
Drama.
cares about drama, funny or not, quality really doesn't matter. It's about like short videos, regularly oriented towards kids or especially teenagers. That's what really would make a lot of views. This is exactly the opposite of what we're doing.
Exactly.
This is the exact opposite of what we're doing. No
Man,
swear words, family friendly content.
um,
Like one episode every like sometimes 3 to 4 months. It's a big episode. Like there's a lot of work into it, a lot of acting, a lot of editing afterwards, a lot of stuff. But at the end, we love the result, even if it gets really poor views. We don't care. We're not doing it for money anyways.
man, it's like I'm doing 1 hour. I'm also going against the algorithm. I'm sharing long formats, so I'm not willing to do that. But I know that also, like, there is now. I was impressed. I talked to some influencers in Tunisia, and they answered me this, like, really, this really exciting for me that you provide no script. Like, this for the first time that they get to talk about themselves more, or to be normal, because I'm seeing like there is like some kind of interviews like that happened in Tunisia and on TV shows, but I feel like there is a lot of constraints or barriers. Nobody's doing it because they love to do it or they love to share talent. It's more like, how can I make it a business? Like, how can I get through your channel? How can you get through mine? And it's not like a genuine conversation. And it's also, it comes when everybody's looking for money. But when no money is involved, like it's just two humans sharing, that's I think where the beauty. And if you do it on a long term, you could like outsmart a lot of like dumb content, because over the time they would die, or they would even want to be on your show. But you refuse. That's when you can refuse as well.
Yeah, maybe. Well, to be honest, we stopped. You know why we stopped producing YouTube videos? Because it's very, very, very time consuming. If you
Yeah.
watch our videos on the YouTube channel, you see that they really take a lot of work to make. Like there's a script that I have to take at least two to 3 weeks writing by my own. and then we always have a guest, like it's maybe a rap singer, a famous YouTuber, I don't know, a famous radio show host. It's always someone who's not from the, we prefer he's not from the gaming scene, so just to make it like to vary the profiles. So we have to get the guest, we have to write the script, we have to do the scenes like acts and stuff, and then the editing. So what I have, so in order to make one episode of our show on YouTube, I have to make an editor work for at least a straight week for no money, a professional editor. So he has to be at my place, telling exactly what I tell him. This goes there, and I have not a penny to pay him. I have to bring a cameraman because I don't own a Canon or very professional camera. So I have to bring someone for at least 3 days of shooting for nothing, free again. So it's already a bit, I don't know, heavy for me to ask every time, please, can you come? We have to. So that part alone is already hard. If we got, I don't know, some way to monetize them, because to be honest, at the end of the day, every project needs money to survive. Even if at the beginning, the money was not the point at all of what we did, but at the end, the money did impose itself. You need money.
Yeah, I would advise you to get other income of streams, but in euros. So to freelance, even for small jobs in Upwork or this kind of like game development there. So you could earn enough money to not only like sustain your life, but give money or invest the extra money for all this extra work. So basically that's what I'm doing now. The extra money that I'm making, I'm only gonna invest is into making more professional content. And that's the loop I'm willing to take. It's a risk as well, but you can generate enough money to be like, to have some saving and to be on your own. But that's why I told you, turn more into foreign currency, because while living in Tunisia, you could spare a lot.
Yeah, but there you got the other problem. It's a very classic one. If you have enough money because you spend a lot of time working for that money, you don't have the time to make the videos. So basically, if I'm teaching and I'm teaching, I'm making the events, and the events take a lot of preparations. Like you have to see where the event is going to be held, prepare the stuff, prepare the staff, the stuff, everything. When are you gonna like write the script, make the shooting? You know, it's a job to make these videos. Really, they are very, very hard to make. So that's the issue. Unless you do make money for a good amount of time, then you take a break, and during that break, you make the videos.
Exactly.
And then you go back to your events. You go back to your teaching. You go back to.
That's what I was going to tell you. You work on a project, on a game. You make some money, then you go and do your stuff. Until you can make money from your YouTube channel, because at some point, if you generate enough attraction or enough attention, you could like do brand placements, do sponsorships, do a lot of stuff.
If you won't do that, you would have to change the formula, to be honest, because what we do
not as well. If you see like the big YouTubers, even in Tunisia, sorry to stop you, they impose their role. So even if they tell them like you need a 30-second product placement, they tell them you do it as you want, because people are starting to get aware of like brand placement and product placement. So now they make it in a funny way. So I'm gonna place this product so people don't zap, or so they still get entertainment out of it. So it's gonna always be adapted. The message, they're gonna find a way for it to be adapted.
Smart way to,
because it's underpriced. As long as it's underpriced, like there is, I don't know, I heard about it today. I didn't know if you know about it. There is Cameo. Cameo is an online platform that allows you to pay like few amount of money for a personalized video from a celebrity, athlete, or comedian, or a musician. So you could get like I found the UFC fighter in 3 categories for $50. Or I paid for $30 from a message from Niles from Une Nounou d'Enfer. You remember him?
Yeah.
I paid for,
I remember the show at least.
Yeah, exactly. So you get this idea. These actors, comedians, and all the revenue is shared for is given for now charity causes. which is a really cool stuff to do. So now I'm using that as promotion for this platform. I'm gonna use celebrities to make promotion of my own podcast.
That what works. Actually, this is what works. Huh? I do recommend to do that.
That's why I told you, like, you need to search for what's the underpriced attention, where it is. Like you did, as you said, like I saw, you invited a rapper because you get bonds with him. You need to search for who fits my culture or my ideas, and I can include him within the project. And then the prices and the attentions goes down. But as long as you keep it closed, I know it's like good for control and that you share your vision, but it's also not exciting to get new elements or to evolve also as a YouTube channel. Now you see young people or like a Mr. Beast, every 2 weeks or 1 month is all type of content or ideas changes. So young also people need that stimulus. You can make it through different type of actions.
Ways. Sure, true. This is something that we could develop like once this lockdown is over, because clearly we can't do much right now except for simple videos, very simple basic ones. I'm playing this game, testing something, but it's something to elaborate once it's, I hope very soon, this lockdown goes off.
I still like it's starting now. The confinement, for example, here in Germany, starting from also like you 3rd of May and partially until August. Big events is after August until now announced.
August. So we're in May or July. We're in April.
May soon. May is in a couple of days.
Yeah. So I hope they don't extend it. I hope.
I hope so, man. Today I was shocked. Like last week when I went to parks, you see no one with masks, but today, like nobody will accept you actually in big
Without
places.
the mask.
Yeah.
That's good measure of security, of caution. Yeah.
So what did you learn? What skill did you learn, or what did you learn? What lesson did you learn during this COVID? Everybody got time to think.
Yeah. What did I learn? So what did I learn? So actually, I did learn that you may think that you wouldn't get bored, but you do. So to be, I'm used to getting a lot of people at my place. Like since I got a lot of games, so there's a lot of people coming by. Like really every day. It's almost near to impossible not to have someone to visit today for an hour or something to play a game, to talk about something or to.
It's the name of your YouTube channel, AtSpootGaming.
AtSpootSgaming, exactly. That's AtSpootSgaming. This is where the name comes from, exactly. That's why it is called AtSpootSgaming, because we go at Spoots and we play games. So not having that at all for straight 2 months, 2 months straight was like harsh to be alone. So I discovered that part of the fun of playing a game, even a single player one, like I played through Horizon Zero Dawn during the lockdown. So it is a single player game. That's obvious, but there's a part of the fun that there are people around you that are watching. Or there's part of the fun that you are watching someone, the God of War on the PS4. I did not play it myself. I did experience the game somehow. I did play some portions of the game, but most of it, I was watching my friends that came over, and every time it's someone playing, we did all together play the game, but every time it's someone who plays the game. There
is like 2 licenses, I think. Metal Gear, I didn't play before the 3rd one. Only my friend played, and Splinter Cell, because he loved infiltration game, and I had no patience like for waiting and sneaking around. I wanted to kill them all.
Yeah. So the stealth part is always this was debatable. So some people want to play it, some people want to skip it and play it like really. Did I play the Metal Gear? I didn't. No, I think I didn't play any Metal Gear Solid during the lockdown. But Horizon Zero Dawn did have some stealth elements into it. So what else did I play? So a lot of the Nintendo games that I skipped because I didn't have time. I opened Luigi's Mansion 3, which I found a really good masterpiece. I had a lot of fun playing Luigi's Mansion 3. What else? A lot of Smash Bros here and there, online games and stuff like that. Mario Kart on mobile, I do not recommend it to anyone. Don't play gacha games. Never play gacha games. Never start a gacha game because once you play it, you're now like committed to it. You
Yeah,
can't
sold.
like. Yeah, I spent so many many hours playing this game. Especially if you started day one. I started day one Mario Kart Tour, so which makes my account one of the best in the world. You can't let off of such a good account that so easily.
Sell
But
it.
you know you should.
Sell
You
it.
should.
Sell it.
I can't sell. You wanna know why I can't sell it? Because it's linked to my main Nintendo account. So I will have to send my Nintendo account, which also has my Switch stuff, like my
Oh,
Switch
no.
saves, my Switch. So that's the issue. You can't sell it because it's linked to your main account, Nintendo account, and so I keep playing it. I hate it. It's very risky for your mental health because there's a lot of I don't find the word gamble. You gamble. You gamble. That's basically what you do in a gacha game. You're gambling your currency. Now, I don't put real money in the game. Luckily, I'm not 100% free to play. To be honest, there is a subscription to some service. I do activate it sometimes. I don't know, 1 month out of 3 or something like that. But I don't like pay to win or pay to buy the stuff or the characters or the cards or whatever. No, that would be so, or to buy extra rupees or whatever currency so you can summon. I don't do that. That would only break your mental health even more. So I've been playing a lot of this Mario Kart Tour. I don't recommend anyone to play any gacha game. What else? I played a lot of games on the 3DS too. I played the Metroid Samus Return. I played through the original, the Game Boy, the Metroid 2 Samus Return, and then remade it in 2017, I think. They remade it on the 3DS. Samus Returns, not Samus Return, it's Samus Returns, the remake on 3DS. It was amazing. I played through it too. I loved it. And what I loved about this lockdown is that I got the opportunity to play so many games that I thought I am too old today to find the time to go back to or to play. But thanks to this lockdown, I did play a lot of these games. I am currently playing Luigi's Mansion 2 because I skipped it. I played the first one on the GameCube back in 2002. I played the 3 like a week ago. I finished it, and I started the second one on 3DS. And at the same time, I'm playing Mario Luigi Paper Jam on the 3DS. I don't know. I played this Mario Luigi thing. It was amazing when it first came out. The first game on the Game Boy Advance was amazing. It was really a masterpiece of RPG. And talking about Mario RPGs, this one is by far the best Mario RPG, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
This one is amazing.
I
It's a
agree.
masterpiece.
I was gonna tell you about that. Like Paper Mario is one of wow.
That's so awesome.
What
And not by
perspectives.
far. I said, yeah, I had everything. Everything about this game is amazing. So I said it was the best by far, but actually no, there's a close second. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga or Mario and Luigi Bowser Inside, they are really close second. They are RPGs, Mario, that are amazing. As for the newest Mario and Luigi, especially the one I'm playing now, Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, which combines some elements of the Paper Mario series and the Mario and Luigi, I think it's childish. It's very easy. What were they thinking? I don't know. Okay, the older one wasn't really hard games, but they were amazing. There was challenge. There were RPG elements. I don't know, the 3DS ones, they're too easy. Maybe they changed the audience, the target audience. I don't know.
Maybe
I
their
like it as
target
much.
exactly. Maybe their target audience is too young now that they can't make too hard of the game that people are not interested. One question: what do you think made Mario so popular, or to stay that big of a license over the years?
Super Mario Brothers, because that game invented the 2D side scrollers back then. The gameplay was so fluid. So that game really completely, literally saved the gaming console industry. So you know what happened in '93 was the game console industry crashed. So nobody was interested into buying consoles because there was a lot of shovelware on Atari and ColecoVision and television, all the consoles that were dominant back then. So what resulted this shovelware was because Atari and the console manufacturers didn't have any control over who can make games for the consoles. Everybody could make a game on their console. If you're a developer, make a game, Atari cartridge, sell them. So there were so many shovelware. Consumers were advised, ill-informed. So create a lot of shovelware, especially AT, the game, and the port of Pac-Man from the arcade. Pac-Man, which was a very, very big successful arcade icon. When they ported it to the Atari 2600, it was horrible. I do have a copy of the game. It is a horrible game. They were so sure that the game would sell a lot, they produced more copies of the game than the number of consoles sold. It made no sense. Let's say they sold 10 million Atari 2600. They made more than 10 million copies of Pac-Man. And then afterwards, you know what they did? I think it was the AT one, AT, because it was so bad, they had to bury the copies in the desert in New Mexico because they had so many copies of the game unsold. So they buried them in the desert. And there was some article I read recently. When I say recently, I mean like 2 years ago, maybe. Some people dug in the desert
for them.
and they found them. They found these copies. So anyway, to make it short, there was a crash of the industry. So what Nintendo did in 95 to in 85, sorry, 2 years later, to make their console sell they manufactured it and they marketed it as a toy, not a gaming console. Hence the name Nintendo Entertainment System. There's no video game at all in the name. So and they packed it with a mini robot called Rob. They're a robotic body, operational body or something like that. Rob, it's a little robot that plays the game with you. You can check that on the internet. And the killer app of that console that was sold as a toy to save the gaming console market, the killer app was Super Mario Brothers. So since that moment in 95, Mario was like the icon for gaming consoles. He was the one who saved the industry. And what the hard part is not to make one successful killer app, is to always be updated with successful killer apps. And then again in 96, Super Mario 64 invented 3D platforming. So it was like every time, it was Shigeru Miyamoto and his team at Nintendo who always make the first move to like show how a 2D platformer should be, how a 3D platformer should be, how a 3D game in general should be, because you have also Zelda Ocarina of Time that had the Z targeting. It had so many new stuff that are like pillars today. Yeah? You can't make a 3D game without them. So Mario, what made him, and Wario 2, what makes Mario this successful is because he was like really here every time to write history in the gaming industry. So obviously, yeah, he can't be not unsuccessful. He's more popular than Mickey today, so imagine.
Yeah, but it was also like, I remember a battle between him and Sonic at some point, which Sonic won on another side, on the TV show and other side, and Mario still persisted within gaming. And as you said, like Nintendo 64, that Super Mario, when it came up, it changed the whole like movement perspective, which that game is better than some game coming now, like moving wise, how you move character wise.
Sure, yeah, there was the console wars that in the 16-bit era, like the early to mid 90s. It was I had the Genesis, my aunt had the Super Nintendo, so I played both. To be honest, I loved more the Super Nintendo, but I did love a lot playing with my older brother Sonic, especially Sonic 2, and a lot of games on the Sega Mega Drive. So yeah, the point of making Sonic was basically just to make an answer for Mario. So Sonic is basically derived from Mario. The word Mario, you wouldn't have had Sonic. Same as for PlayStation. If you didn't have that's another whole story. If you didn't have the Super Nintendo and stuff, and the Super Nintendo PlayStation, the Nintendo PlayStation project, you wouldn't have had the PlayStation that we know today and love. So to go back to Sonic, the issue with Sonic, unlike Mario, he did not evolve quite well with the time. Mario, Mario did.
I disagree. I disagree. Into the gaming world, no. But the character, if you see Sonic, he got friends, he got brothers, he got rivals, he got a new like attacking. The universe of Mario was pretty simple. Like you got Peach, Toad, Bowser, and Wario and Luigi, and the whole team is done. They'll do you any kind of game, but with those characters. When you see like Sonic, what made it, he was even some more popular at some point, like in marketing wise, and how he generated attraction because of like this like TV shows, comics, which the character evolved a lot, which comic
Transmedia.
got a lot of attraction outside.
Yeah, if you talk in character development, that may be something debatable. But as regarding of games, let's look at a simple thing: the transition to 3D. Look how Mario went from 2D to 3D, and Sonic, when he went to 3D, it didn't work as good. I'm a big fan of Sonic Adventure 2, the first Sonic Adventure. I played a lot of that game, whether on Dreamcast or when it was re-released on the GameCube. I do love Sonic, don't get me wrong, but Sonic didn't quite make as good games as Mario when they switched to 3D, to be honest. And that's what killed Sonic. That's the problem, it's the games. I do love the character, though. I do love the Sonic games. But what's the last good Sonic game you played? I think it was Sonic Generations on the PlayStation 3 I played. I loved it. I loved it a lot. And I loved it because it has a lot of old stuff from the old Sonic games. Like, a lot of nostalgia. You played Sonic Generations?
No, I didn't get
the chance. It's a good one. It's a good one. I recommend you. It's a very good game.
Is it on PC?
I guess, yeah. It's even on the 3DS, so I guess it's also on PC. It's on the 3DS, it's on the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3.
I'll find it then.
And PC. I'm pretty sure it's available on PC. Yeah.
So, final thing. What are your biggest goals, or what are you willing to achieve after this Corona? What would you want to change within the culture of gaming still? Like future-wise now. Let's talk after.
For myself or for the whole scene?
For yourself first and for the whole scene in a bigger picture.
For myself, to be honest, I will have to restart the retro gaming events craze, because, that was like a harsh hit. So I have to little by little make the trend again, because to be honest, it was like a trend. We had like, sometimes we have 2 events in one day, and we have to have 2 teams, one on the event A, the other on event B. It was doing well, to be honest. Alhamdulillah, I can't complain about that. So I'll have to make that happen again from the ground up, from scratch, because clearly now we don't have the same hype as we used to have before the lockdown. So I have to put the train of retro gaming Tunisia back on the rails. That's the first thing I'll have to do once the lockdown is like off and we can make events again. That's for me, because that's a way to, that's how I make my living. So I have to think of that first. And then as for the courses will come back by themselves, because I think the private schools and stuff will want to make some
I'm
trainings.
not sure about this school year though.
Yeah, this is not something I can do much about. This is something that's not on my hands. But the retro gaming community, that's my hand. That is something I would have to work out. For the trainings, this will come little by itself. As for the scene, to be honest, I'm a bit proud of what I did for the Super Smash Brothers scene in Tunisia, because we didn't have the scene before. I did gather the fan base, and we started making weeklies with the Tunisian Esports Association, which is an association that I love a lot.
I love them as well.
They're awesome. They're really all genuine gamer people. They're not like people that came out of nowhere. Yeah, let's make an association again. No, they are real gamers.
I also know them.
Yeah, I knew most of them throughout Retro Gaming Tunisia. So it's just to tell you how much they are actual gamers. And then they made the Tunisian Esports Association. They called me to be part of the team. Sure, I was very happy. So we did create with them the Smash scene. We had some quite good streams. We were featured in one of the biggest YouTube channels of Smash, which is called Eat Smash. I was so happy that day. One of our streams was featured in there. So this should, I want the Smash scene to move further, because there are people trying to improve the Counter-Strike scene, the Dota 2 scene. There's nobody helping for Smash Bros. So I will need to do that. I will need to work on that. And I know the guys in the Smash scene are amazing people. They help a lot. They are also passionate. So I count on them. And yeah, the Smash scene, this is what I want to focus on esports-wise, the Smash scene. Because if we don't do it, nobody will do it. If we don't do it, nobody else is going to do it, to be honest. So the Smash scene, yeah.
No, it's gonna be that attraction. So I'll keep an eye on that. Then we'll try to arrange a game of Smash to see who's better.
Amazing, yeah, I would love to.
In the near future. And
anytime.
We'll do another episode when the lockdown is over to see retro gaming, I hope, back in action when everything's fine and you can present it, even next time Warrior Collection or whatever you want. It was a great talk to have it with you and to hear about your perspective, possibilities, and to get to know there and there what you liked. Any words you want? Of course, I'm gonna plug it. It's gonna be also in the description.
Thanks. No, just figured that I used this paper as a mouse pad, because one of my trainings I teach augmented reality, and I use this as target image. So I had to have this sheet of paper with me every time to show them how augmented reality works. Like I could turn it down if we have time. I don't know.
Go.
So the thing was to teach them about augmented reality. I didn't know what to choose as image target, and I said, I think my logo is a pretty unique image, so it would work well as target. So this is the application. You go to AR. There is game and stuff. I don't know the autofocus works or not.
Yeah.
AR. Okay. So this will turn on the camera. Okay. Hey, you have twice. Yeah. Okay, so if you look at the up, it will trigger a video.
Directly. Super nice.
Yeah, it triggers the video up, and if you click on the video, it takes you to our YouTube channel. Hey, and now you watch the actual video.
That's an app you developed?
Yeah, this was for teaching purposes. It's an app I developed. It also has a small game and the GPS. Just to teach the how to use the Unity engine for the beginners. There's a small funny game just to teach how to use the accelerometer. So, game it is up. So it's Pac-Man giving to Mr. Game & Watch his power pills, and you have to
get them.
Yeah. And if you lose, I put the game over that I love so much from Sega Rally Championship. Listen. The game over, yeah! I love it. That was the only part I liked about the game, Sega Rally Championship on Sega Saturn. I only liked losing in the game to hear the game over, yeah!
But why would you not commercialize this kind of app? It can catch.
Maybe I made them for educational purposes, but yeah, why not? So clearly not this one, because it has Pac-Man and Game & Watch and Game Boy and stuff. Some IPs I don't own, obviously. So
no, but
how did you get in here? Yeah, maybe someday I'll put it.
Now you need to think every skill that you got, how you can monetize it. I also got, for example, a big hit in my incomes, also because of the corona. Everybody got hit, but is this uncertain times, it makes you think, what can I also do more? That's why I told you, since you're developing it for fun and you're totally a beginner, it doesn't take that much amount of time. Think of a way of making it marketable.
Yes, that could work. That could work. Yeah, that would be a great idea.
Or just to make, for example, I'm seeing Michael Reeves, which last time his video was, I saw a robot surgeon. he saw a robot surgeon, and he called like, I can build that, and he ordered everything out of Wish, and he built something like that. So you could like create even for educational purposes. Like, yeah, I'm bored, I want to make this, and you make it a YouTube video as well, which can be great content, both educational and entertaining wise. You could include the same format that you got before.
Sure. That sounds like a great idea. If it's something like which is like purposing the game development part more than the playing part.
Exactly. Just
yeah.
You just include the part which is like funny, make it lighter for people to digest the information like you do in general, and you give some lessons about how to make like tutorial about beginner apps, or it could attract so many people, I think, into game development when they see the potential or what you could do.
Clearly, yeah, I should market that more. I should expose it more.
But also like give like a teaser, a freemium teaser, so what you could achieve, and visit for more.
Click for more, subscribe for more.
You need to clickbait.
Sure. That's how it works.
So, would you like to add something, or would you like to ask something?
Thanks for having me. I had a very great time. Even if you never aired this, I had a lot of great time only talking about this.
I'm gonna air it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just want to tell you that the only fact that we talked about this, that I talked about all what you talked about with you, it was already a big pleasure.
It's a big pleasure of mine. I was like, genuinely, these conversations, I put like how I did that is who I want to have a talk with and about which subjects. And I'm generally going to have fun with. Like, I'm not going to count time. So it was like all these ideas. I got like a lot of friends from Tunisia or that I met here in Berlin. And instead of just reconnecting, we have talks like this. People get to know each other. And I think from this kind of talks, we get great lessons. Also get great lessons from like learning about your experiences or your struggles. So it helps everyone, I think.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for having me. Thank you for this great time. Thanks to everyone who's watching this.
Thanks as well for everyone that's watching or gonna watch this video. Thank for your time. And I'm gonna meet Spoot on other application and leave Zoom alone, I think.
Good.
So have a great night and hope to see you soon.
Thank you. See you soon. See you soon, everybody. Thanks.